Welcome back to 25 Days of Spookmas. Day 25. I'm going to get it right on day 25. I promise you that. I won't. But this is part 2 of that video from yesterday about the school. The boys decided to go to the school at night to test if the legends were true or if they were just stories. On the 15th day of the month, they sneaked out of their houses and met up at exactly midnight. As they walked through the school gate and up the path, the boys stared at the statue, waiting for something to happen. The eyes of the statue were looking to the left, and even as the boys passed by, the eyes did not move an inch. So much for that stupid legend, one of the boys chuckled. They entered the school building and cautiously climbed up the stairs, counting each step. 1, 2, 3. There were 13 steps in total. When they walked back down, there were still 13 steps. Another old wives' tale, said one of the boys. They made their way down the corridor to the science laboratory and turned on all the taps. Instead of blood, all that came gushing out was water. They let out a disappointed sigh. I knew it, said one of the boys. We came here in vain. They decided to test out one more legend before they went home. And went to the toilets on the ground floor. However, when they came to the door of the toilets, a few of the boys lost their nerve. Although they had talked excitedly about it, none of them seemed in any hurry to enter. The haunted stall. Finally, one boy stepped forward and told the others he was not afraid of anything. He pushed open the door and went into the toilet. While his friends waited outside, the boys looked at the clock. It was exactly 1 a.m. A minute later, he came out of the toilet with a grin on his face. Nothing, he said. It's all just a bunch of kid stories and fairy tales. The boys all laughed and walked away. When they came out of the school, they walked back down the path. Before leaving, they took one last look at the statue, but its eyes were still looking to the left. What a letdown, one of the boys whispered, and they all went home. The next morning, each of the boys received a worried phone call from the boy's mother. Was he with you last night? She demanded. He wasn't there when I checked his room this morning. He sneaked out and he still hasn't come home. Where is he? The boys felt something was wrong. In the end, they decided to tell their parents about the little trip they had taken the night before. Their parents contacted the school principal, and soon the adults were gathering around the school. What are you saying? The school principal asked. You're talking the statue outside the school? The eyes of that statue have always looked to the right. But when we were here last night, they were looking to the left, one of the boys exclaimed. Entering the gate, they were all shocked to see that the eyes of the statue were indeed looking to the right. What about the steps on the staircase? One of the boys cried. They all quickly ran to the staircase and counted the steps. "1, 2, 3, 12." "Yes," said the school principal. "The staircase has always had 12 steps when it was being built. The architects made a mistake in the design. It was supposed to have 13 steps." "That's impossible," one of the boys shouted. "What about the taps in the lab?" "Entering the science laboratory." They all looked at the sinks. Each one was caked with a dark red stain. The boys were numb with fear. "But what about Sinchi?" one of the boys mumbled. "He went into the toilet." "Let's go and see," said the school principal in a grave voice. They all gathered around the toilets. The boys and their parents looked at each other nervously. The principal took a deep breath, reached out, and pushed the door open. Sinchi's mother let out a blood-curdling scream and fainted. The others recoiled in horror, and some of them could not help vomiting all over the floor. The dead body of their friend was hanging from the ceiling with a rope wrapped around his neck. His face was deathly pale, and his eyes were wide open, frozen in a look of horror. His throat had been cut from ear to ear, and all the blood had drained out of his body, covering the floor in the pool of dark red. His internal organs and intestines had been removed. They were sitting in a neat pile in the toilet. One of the boys was in a daze. He was staring unblinkingly at the watch on Senchi's wrist. It had stopped at exactly 1 a.m.